Hi, I'm Nicole and I'm a writer. Currently, I've got 3 contemporary romance writing projects going on. I've learned quite a bit from writing these 3 projects that I'm currently working on, and I wanted to chat with you about them today and share some stuff that I've learned. I hope this video can give you some idea of how you can use the idea of the stuck together trope or forced proximity in your romance stories. So if you're planning on writing a romance story using this trope in 2024, I hope this video helps you out. This video is a collaboration with some other lovely Authortubers here on YouTube, and it is all being organized by Nicole Wilbur. So I will leave a link to the playlist down below where you can find these other videos. She is the one who came up with all of these lovely questions that I'm going to be answering today, so let's go over the questions. What is this genre and/or what is unique to it? Why do you love to write/read in this genre? What's your go-to genre-specific resource? What misconceptions did you have or mistakes did you make when you first started writing in this genre, and how did you overcome them? What advice do you have for someone who is just starting in this genre? And just for a point of reference, when I refer to the word genre, I am talking about contemporary romances that use the stuck together trope. Now let's get on to my answers to these questions. Question number 1, what is the genre/trope and what is unique to it? To summarize it quickly, the trope of being stuck together or the idea of forced proximity is often used in romance novels to bring 2 characters together who probably wouldn't find themselves together under normal circumstances. So this would mean that they are forced to be together in the same space, or they could be forced to be together in a situation that kind of forces them to interact. And oftentimes with this forced proximity between these 2 characters, it gives them the time and space to get to know the other character better and possibly fall in love. So examples of this could be something like 2 rivals have to escape a jail cell together, or 2 coworkers who don't get along are forced to work on the same work project. Or maybe 2 random strangers are stuck in an elevator together. But like I said, this doesn't have to be a physical situation. The 2 characters don't always have to be stuck in the same room together. They could just be stuck in a situation where they are just forced to interact with each other, forced to get along, forced to get to know each other better. So maybe an example of this, like I said, is 2 coworkers are made to work on the same work project together. Or maybe it is 2 acquaintances who are forced to come together to help out a mutual friend. The possibilities are really endless when it comes to this trope, and you'll find that it doesn't just occur in romance novels, but I'm going to be talking about the trope in terms of romance specifically today. So on to the next question, question number 2. Why do you love to write/read in this genre? I love to write the stuck together trope because it gives 2 people who wouldn't normally interact the chance to get to know each other better and possibly fall in love. In my most recent writing project that I started back in November, my main character escapes her everyday life to go off to a cabin in the woods, answering an ad for someone seeking a roommate and an escape from everyday life. And when she gets to this cabin, she finds out that the person who made the ad searching for a roommate is not the person she's actually going to be rooming with, and that it was a friend of the actual roommate who made the posting because they know how lonely their friend is and kind of the companionship the friend needs. And because my main character finds herself in this situation where she is stuck living with this person in this cabin, she gets to know them better and eventually they find love. And in October, I wrote a series of vignettes for Peachtober all around the idea of a woman who owns a haunted bed and breakfast that is catered towards serving ghosts. And she is the only person who can see these ghosts. And then one day a man walks into her hotel. He is very much alive and not a ghost, and her bed and breakfast is the only place he can afford to stay while he is working for the month. So he gets a room there, and in that sense they are forced to be together because he's staying in her hotel and they're going to be seeing a lot of each other, and over the course of some time they also fall in love. And then for my first novel, which I'm still continuing to work on, it involves two best friends who at one point fell in love. They broke up. They have no reason to be talking to each other anymore, but a wedding where they both have to attend it in some capacity brings them together, and they kind of, with this forced proximity of being involved with the wedding, they reconnect and fall in love again. So as you can see, the common thread throughout my three projects, three stories that I've been working on is that all of my couples have been brought together by circumstances that they wouldn't normally find themselves in with their love interests, and by having to spend this time with them, they get to learn more about each other and to either reignite or discover the romantic connections that they have with each other. And I think this is what I really love about this trope, is that the idea of you don't know what to expect in a person when you meet them or get to interact with other people. And definitely what I love most about reading or writing in this trope is the payoff that you get for reading it from the beginning, when maybe they were strangers or they're two people who are no longer connected to each other. And they are forced to spend this time together. They are forced to interact with each other. But the big moment in every story when they are no longer forced to be together, there is no situation that is keeping them together. There is no physical situation that is forcing them to be together. When the characters make the choice to become stuck with the other person, or the choice to make sure there is proximity between the two of them, that is what I love in these romantic stories involving the stuck together trope, is kind of when it gets twisted and they're no longer forced to be together, but they are actively making the choice to be together. I also think that this genre and trope really gives you an excuse to be very creative with your characters and to find ways to make sure that they interact in the circumstances that they're given. It's just really fun to play around with. Question number 3 now. What's your go-to genre-specific resource? So to be honest, I don't have a lot of writing or craft resources when it comes to this genre. I think I've mostly experienced it in different forms of media over the years, whether it is in movies, TV shows, or books. I'll try to pop up some quick examples here of pieces of media I've enjoyed that use this stuck together trope, and if you're interested in checking them out, maybe it will give you some inspiration as well. But for writing romance and writing in general, I will leave some resources down in the link below that I have used myself for kind of learning the craft or for inspiration on writing. There's a good number of Authortuber channels I follow that provide a whole bunch of wonderful resources, and there's a couple of websites that I often turn to online. I will link everything down below so it's super easy for you to find them, and I hope you have fun discovering your own resources for writing. And for question number 4, what misconceptions did you have or mistakes did you make when you first started writing in this genre, and how did you overcome them? Well, right off the top of my head, the first thing I can say when I first ever made an attempt at writing this trope was that I went way over the top, that in the end did not feel true to the story I was trying to tell or true to the characters that I was using in the story. An example of this, and I don't think I've talked about this online before, I mentioned my first book earlier, and like I said, this is a book that is a romance novel that also uses the stuck together trope. However, what I haven't said is that the idea of having my characters come together because of this mutual wedding they are both a part of was not the original plan I had in mind for the story. It's been a novel idea that I had in mind for many, many years since I was a teen, and my original ideas for how this novel would play out are not what they are today. When I was considering ideas on how to bring the two characters back together again, I knew it would have to be using this forced proximity trope in some capacity, and this is embarrassing for me to talk about because really this was just an idea that I thought would be so great, and I really had tried to plan out the plot for it, only to realize that it just would not work out for these characters and it did not make sense. So basically my idea would be that both of the characters find themselves back in the same city again for whatever reason, but the thing that brings them together is a lost dog. My male protagonist finds the dog one day and he decides to take it in. He cannot find the owner of this dog and the dog kind of becomes his own in a sense, only for there to be a reveal where it is his ex-best friend, former girlfriend who has moved back to the city, and turns out the dog is hers. And then of course they have this like shared custody of the dog and this back and forth kind of thing, and I don't know, it's messy, and somewhere along the line they kind of fall in love again. But in the end, this really made no sense to me for my characters, and it seemed like the dog and a roommate were more a star of this show than the actual couple falling in love. It was very odd and just kind of like over the top, and I couldn't figure out a way that it actually made sense. I don't think it's a bad idea for two people to fall in love over a dog, but given the circumstances and their backstories over their relationships, I don't know, it just didn't add up for my characters and the growth that I wanted to show with them. And then after that, when I kind of realized that that idea didn't work out, there was another strange idea I had of them having some kind of silent rivalry over buying this exclusive jellyfish item in a grocery store and them getting competitive about it and them finding each other again. I don't know, it's a mess, and saying it out loud sounds all incredibly silly, but that's what I tried to do. So if I can give you any advice on not having the same blunder that I did, is when you think about the forced proximity between your characters, I guess just ask yourself if it really makes sense to the message you want to give in your story and if it makes sense to the growth you want to show your characters having. And the last question for today's video, what advice do you have for someone who is just starting in this genre? Aside from what I just said in my answer to the question before, I honestly say just have fun with it. And in addition to that, give your characters a reason that they are stuck together or forced to be in the same proximity of each other, but also give them a reason that they choose to be stuck to the other person in the end. And ask yourself, when the circumstances change, when they are no longer forced to be together, what is actually making them choose to be together and to continue with this romantic relationship? Because I think it's easy for two people to be stuck together if you think about your own life experiences and the times you have worked on, I don't know, a school project with someone, or you're talking to someone at a party because you have no one else to talk to, or you're even maybe on a blind date and you're obligated to talk to this person for at least some amount of time because you both showed up together. It's easy for you to leave that situation and walk away the same way you were before, as strangers. So make it fun for yourself. Figure out ways that your characters can still be involved with each other even when the circumstances change, because that, to me at least, is the best part of the romantic genre and the stuck together trope, is when two people choose to be together rather than just being forced to be together. Your characters may not have thought they would ever be together, but with some time and close proximity, they may just find the love of their lives, and it is your job to make that happen. It is your job to make that story come to life. And how are you going to do it? And how are you going to have fun with it? And that's all for me. I hope this video was helpful for you and that you can take some inspiration from it into your writing going into 2024. I also make other videos about writing, vlogs, my creative daydreams. So if you would like to see more from me, I encourage you to subscribe. And please check out the other Authortubers involved in this collaboration. I will leave the link to the playlist down below so you can check out their videos for more ideas on what you can write in 2024. Thank you again to Nicole Wilbur for coming up with all these questions and for organizing this collaboration. It was a lot of fun to come up with answers for them. If you have any questions for me, please leave them down below and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you so much for watching this video, for checking me out. I hope you have a wonderful time writing in the new year, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!